Take one. Action.
Okay, we are on to our fifth worksheet. Okay, this one is called Numerators and Denominators. So this is the worksheet that you will be doing, and I'm just going to go through a few examples of what exactly numerators and denominators are. Okay, so here I have my circle divided into 4 with one part covered. Okay, so this is my picture of my fraction. Okay, here I have my written fraction. Okay, so this is my fraction. So that's what I'm labeling it. Okay, but this is shown pictorially here. Okay, now for the numerator and denominator, my numerator is always going to be the top number. Okay, so this arrow pointing to 1 is the numerator. Always, whenever you see a fraction, top number is always the numerator. Okay, that's the name for it. Okay, the bottom number, my arrow here, is always going to be the denominator. Okay, so top numerator, bottom denominator. Okay, so this worksheet is basically asking you which is which and to circle them. So that's the first part. Okay, so always remember N for top, D for bottom. Okay, now the bottom is a little bit trickier because it's asking you to follow the pattern. Okay, so if we're looking at the numerator first, we're going to look and see how this grows. Okay, it is a growing pattern because it's growing, right? It's not shrinking and it's not repeating. Okay, so it's a growing pattern. We recognize that first. So how do we get from 1 to 2? Well, I add 1. How do I get from 2 to 3? I add 1. How do I get from 3 to 4? I add 1. So 3 times I'm going to know that my next ones are just going to be adding 1. Okay, so I'm going to add the next numerator because if I add 1, it's going to be 5, right? So what are my next numerators going to be? It's going to add 1 every time. So I'm going to let you do those ones, but I'm going to show you this next one. Okay, I figured out my numerators, okay, the top half. Now I'm going to figure out my denominator rule. Okay, how do I get from 3 to 6? I add 3, right? Okay, how do I get from 6 to 9? I'm adding 3 again. 9 to 12, I'm adding 3. Okay, well, it's done 3 times, which means I found out the rule. You add 3 every time, which means you're counting up by 3s. So if I'm going 12 plus 3, what is my next one going to be? 15. Awesome. So my next pattern, I'm going to follow my pattern and I'm going to go up by 3 every time to figure out my denominators. And I'm going to go plus 1 every time to figure out my numerators. Okay, so they want you at the bottom to figure this one out and then explain how you figured out the pattern, which is basically what I just did for you. Okay, good luck.